We have an update on a story that we previously talked about. The arrest of a Texas man who was tased in an ambulance following a seizure by Killeen police, well, has been suppressed. Interesting. Now, Matt is one of Truman McCollum Jr.'s attorneys, and we talked about the federal lawsuit filed against 3 police officers and the city, alleging that his civil rights were violated. On January 16, 2021, Truman suffered a medical emergency in a Burger King parking lot, causing him to hit another vehicle on January 16, 2021. He was not responsive when he was removed from his car. He was then taken to an ambulance. The body cam video provided to us by his attorneys shows Truman being tased multiple times in the ambulance and again when they moved him to the police car. Yeah, folks. You see here the officers. They are, first of all, we got a couple of people here. Matt is here, of course. We also have Rawsi Williams with us as well to explain what in the heck going on here. So glad to have both of you out here. So, all right. So we had body cam footage before, Matt. Now we have a different camera here. And the defense that they gave beforehand, that seems to fly out the window.
Yeah, it does. So to make it clear, Roland, I'm one of Truman's 2 attorneys. My co-counsel, Rawsi Williams, is obviously here. And one of the parts of this that we probably didn't flesh out the first time is that Truman is also facing criminal charges. So I represent him on those criminal charges. And pretty early on in this case, I recognized that there was a serious legal issue as it relates to the probable cause where the police officers arrested him. So I filed a motion to suppress. I went up and argued it. They put one of the defendants in the federal civil rights case on the stand. I ate him alive. The judge agreed with me. There is not probable cause to arrest him here for anything that he got charged for. So she issued an order granting our motion to suppress, which means that everything in the criminal case is dead, essentially. So now the state is intending to appeal it. They haven't filed their brief on time. I think they're appealing it because they're salty that we won. But where we are now is that we are focused solely on the civil rights case going forward.
This is just, it's still interesting him, Rawsi, as we looked at this whole deal, that they're trying to defend this when it's utterly illogical that a man was in an ambulance. And everything that we see, it wasn't like he was attacking anybody. They just decided, what the hell, we're gonna tase him.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us on the show. I've been enjoying it tremendously tonight. But whenever you're dealing with that thin blue line and it comes to Black people, we're not walking around happily singing, I got Georgia on my mind. Because those cops who are racist, they're out to take us out each and every time. So in relation to Truman, it's important also not just to note that he was inside an ambulance, but to note that he had a seizure. He literally had a seizure in the drive-thru of the Burger King. And that is what caused his car to go forward into the car in front of him. And that is what caused the Burger King employee to call 911 for medical assistance for someone whom he witnessed to have a seizure. So when you just showed that body-worn camera of the Killeen PD tasing Truman inside the ambulance, Truman is still coming out of the seizure. He has no idea he's inside of an ambulance. When they removed him from the car, he was literally still unresponsive. And so the paramedics placed him inside the ambulance to receive treatment. The police then entered the ambulance and started tasing him. So at no point during this entire process that you see here, this entire injustice, does Truman even know what's going on? And even later, the police, in their own write-ups, admitted to that he was incoherent. He didn't know who we were. He didn't know we were police. Yet time and time again, this is what we see them doing.
So again, Matt, for the folks who missed it, so what's the next step?
So there are really two next steps. As it relates to the criminal charges, again, we triumphed in our motion to suppress, so the arrests are dead. There's not anything really there to prosecute, but the state has filed a notice of appeal, which means they want to fight what we did in court. I, thinking preventively, recognized what they were likely to do and provided the judge with the law on which she made her ruling, her correct ruling. So we're comfortable with the likely outcome of that. But one, there may be an appellate brief process, and I've hired one of the best appellate lawyers in the state to assist us with that if we do get far down that road. As to the civil rights case, it's basically been on hold as the criminal charges were going through the system. So now it's a matter of litigating the civil rights case. And as you can imagine, both the city and the attorney for the officers, has come out pretty hard, filed their customary motion to dismiss, but we are not concerned. Both Rawsi and I do this for a living, and we are built to stand 10 toes down with our client. And really, the issues are on our side. The law is on our side. Morality is on our side. Right is on our side. And we are on Truman's side and ready to stand to fight against all that comes. But that now means we need to continue briefing in federal court, and we'll surely have some oral arguments on the issues. But, one of the things that's really primary about this, Roland, is a lot of civil rights cases people don't realize when people have contact with the police, there are a lot of times companion criminal charges. And when those companion criminal charges go the way that they've gone in Truman's case, where it's the police don't have probable cause and it's obvious that their contact with our client was not rooted in the law, then that really strengthens and buttresses our position in the federal civil rights case. So Rawsi and I are both heartened by that outcome because we know it's the right outcome and it strengthens our civil rights case. Would you agree with that, Rawsi?
I would. And if I may, I want us to make sure we're letting the people know the significance of that fight you led there in the criminal part of the case, because the witnesses or the witness who was there upon which the judge based this decision was actually one of the police officers involved in tasing Truman. So the state called in their witness, it was the police officer, and utilizing that evidence of that police officer's testimony, utilizing the evidence entered of the body-worn camera, the judge looked at that and said there was no probable cause for the arrest. When the officers charged Truman from that incident there at Burger King, they charged him with resisting arrest as well as a DUI. So to have your own police officer sit there on the stand and testify, and the judge still say, hey, I heard everything you said, but there was no probable cause. That's very powerful. The other thing I'd like to say very quickly is usually at this point, what you see is the prosecution dropping the charges because there's no probable cause. But as Attorney Manning pointed out, in this case, they're still trying, but they even missed the deadline to file their appeal. So right is on our side, the law is on our side, and we have to continue this fight. I get very, very passionate in doing these, but in this situation, I will say very quickly, Truman is not only my client, Truman is my brother. We have the same mother. I mean, biologically. I know sometimes people say brother by another mother. No, this is my brother by my real mother, Rawsi D. McCollum. And so I stand more than 10 toes down. I got my 10 toes, your 10 toes, and everybody else's 10 toes, because we come to hold them accountable. This has to stop. And we're the people.
All right. We appreciate it. Keep us updated. Thanks a lot.